Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Popcorn Watchlist podcast, where we discuss and celebrate our favorites in TV and film. I'm your host, Xavier, and today I'm joined by my fellow Popcorn Watchlist panelists, Anthony, Danny, and Zach. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello.
Look at all that. And echo. No. And we are here today because, as we mentioned last week, we're going to talk about the much hyped up, final point in the... It's wild to say that there's a trilogy of this series, but we're talking about specifically Venom: The Last Dance, the third movie in the Venom trilogy.
At least one of them made it.
Yeah, at least we got a trilogy out of something.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it made it that far.
Before Blade. Trilogy before one Blade movie.
Before one MCU Blade
we got a trilogy of
We got a trilogy of Blade movies before.
For Half-Life 3?
Before Half-Life 3. Dude, Half-Life 3 is never going to happen. I'm not going to get there.
Could you imagine they announce Madam Web 2?
I would probably have an aneurysm, but...
I wouldn't be surprised, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they
We gotta milk the property.
And set it up a little bit.
We have to milk the property. But yeah, surprisingly, we
keep the rights.
We have everybody was talking about how does this, fit into all this different shenanigans that happened after No Way Home, and what is this looking like? How can Tom Hardy fit into all this? The Venom character that they've built with all this is actually pretty popular, surprisingly, and so big shout out to to Tom Hardy for making it work, and somehow just capitalizing on the character itself. Pretty cool. So, this comes out to being, will it be his final thing? We don't know yet. But, interesting kind of setup and premise for the movie that basically, this, super ultra omnipotent bad guy that's the origin of all the symbiotes and other really bad stuff and dark stuff in the entire, universe is in prison somewhere. And, conveniently, Venom has the key to all of it. And him and Eddie Brock are basically going around, most of basically just the desert, trying to outrun this thing that's been sent by them to try to stop them. At the same time, there's some humans trying to figure out and to either coexist or study the symbiotes. And those humans are played by Chiwetel Ejiofor and Juno Temple, which it's nice to see Juno Temple outside of Ted Lasso's and other movies that she's been in, so cool for her. But overall, kind of sets up for some wild, kind of bloody Lethal Protector-ish hijinks, as well as some other really cool kind of big set pieces and action moments and some goofy moments too to kind of undercut the seriousness of what's going on. But yeah, guys, I'll open the floor. Overall, what were some of your favorite moments in the movie that you saw?
I'll start with this one.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be chronological. You don't have to go down everything else. But with that being said, Anthony just whispered, "We're going to be spoilers." It's going to be spoilers. Damn it, he did it. I was going to do spoilers.
That excited
We're Venom! It's we gotta work on that.
Alright, we are Venom.
Venom! I was like, buddy, what's wrong with you? That's great. It's just we're gonna Venom! But yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I liked the one scene, and I mentioned it before we recorded, where Venom possesses the horse. Mm-hmm. And he turns into this.
It's the trailer shot.
It's really cool. It was really kind of nicely done. One of the better moments, I would say, is it's just a quick couple minutes seeing the horses hauling ass at 200 miles an hour across the desert.
How fast can you go without killing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, how fast can you make this thing go without killing it? And I was extremely surprised because it reminded me a lot of the motorcycle sequence from the first movie, except I'm on a horse.
I mean, they did the whole
they jumped off.
Where it jumped off and then Venom grabs.
Yeah, hey, come back, buddy. Yeah.
You know who was faster than the horse though?
Old Spice.
That SEAL team or whatever, the team that goes to find him.
Oh, they immediately found him.
It's the horse scene, and the next scene is we found him. He's in the desert, and the next scene they're there right when the horse stops and drinks water. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, they're pretty fast.
Oddly convenient.
Yeah,
We take the
skipped a
Osprey.
lot of steps.
We'll take the Osprey. But then again, he's trying to get to New York. And one thing I will say that kind of miffed me throughout the movie is that the route he takes to try to get to, I need to get to New York. I'm like, so why are you going west? Like, because he was out somewhere in Mexico, and then
he went to
like
He went north-
I don't know if he was
northwest.
was he in Baja California? I don't know. Like, we're gonna have to look up where he was exactly.
But that's
like, and do the
really
math.
far from
But
New York.
and yeah, it was really far from New York. And initially, it was just like, hey, we're just going to, hitch a plane ride, which I thought was wild. But
Yeah.
it was wild in a fun way, but also wild in a, hey, aren't you freezing?
Well, I just remembered because he took a plane from Mexico anyway.
That's the idea. He took
Maybe-
a plane
yeah,
from
maybe-
Mexico.
yeah,
That's
maybe-
why I'm like, dude, what the heck?
Yeah, I don't know what could have happened. I don't know if they.
But it might be in
Already
Baja
gone that far.
California. And yeah, that's true. It may not have gone that
They
far.
might have mentioned it, but I don't
Or
Maybe it was in Texas.
maybe it was a connecting flight. They were going. They were going in that general direction
That's
to
a
begin with. So, who knows? Maybe there aren't any direct flights from wherever they were in Mexico to New York. That's also a possibility. So, but who's to say?
Yeah.
Who's to say?
I like how when they were on the plane, he's like, "How did Tom Cruise do this?"
Yeah. There were a lot of little, like,
I totally missed that line.
there were a lot of really little, like, outwardly digs. So like the whole Vegas sequence, like, I actually at first thought it was gonna be like some wild, like, fight sequence in Vegas with a whole bunch of, like, destruction, but actually it wasn't that bad. But it was really funny for him to kind of like just try to roll up to Harris as a bum. I was like, oh, like, they will kick you out, like, because I've been to Vegas now. Like, I understand that. And then he just knocks out the bouncer, and then knocks out some other dude, like, just like, who's just like really shit-faced drunk, and takes his soup. But yeah, like the whole bit where he's just like, okay, we have some money. I know what we're doing. I've seen, what was it? What's this movie with Dustin Hoffman? Rain Man. He's like, I've seen Rain Man. I know what we have to do. And it's just like, buddy, no. He's just on sloth the whole time.
He's pressing the button like.
It's just like, what? And it's like, because he's just letting Venom, like, have fun. It's just like, oh, but we're burning all our money, dude. What's going on here? And he's like, why is that lady winning? He's like, no, that's Mrs. Chen. Yeah, so that bled into
Random.
that. Yeah, ran into
Random
her, which is
CGI
great.
to be
You know, like, good for her. That lady deserves
They
to
threw her
win.
in the
Oh,
movie.
random.
It's random, but she needs to win.
I mean, they weren't in San Francisco at all in this movie, so
Nope.
that was the only way to get Mrs. Chen to.
And she's a real one. She won't give him up. Like, she knows she's a fugitive. She's like, nah, he hooks it up for people not trying to rob me. So I'm gonna.
He killed
keep
shoplifters for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, he killed shoplifters. And speaking of, he also killed those like that opening sequence with the cartel guys with the dogfighting ring. That was pretty wild with a lot of like the one dude. I was like, yo, how's he not dead already? But the couple, like, trips, and he did the upside down Spider-Man thing,
Yeah.
which did his own little spin. That was cool. What I also liked funny too is like when he put on the suit and he's like, man, you look really good, Eddie. Like, you look really good. Like, you win a People's Choice Award for being like really hot good.
Oh, no, a sexiest man.
The
alive.
sexiest man alive.
And he's
Yeah.
like, I've won that before.
Yeah, and it's like
Did
he's
Tom
like-
Hardy win Sexiest Man before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
he
meta,
actually
such a
has.
meta
Yeah.
joke.
The was it Kelly Mercer? I think the director and screenwriter for all three of the movies. Like, they threw that in there, and he's like, yeah, I'll take it. As sort of like a self-deprecating dig at him.
I don't remember where in the movie it was. I think it was in the beginning in the first fight sequence. But there was a line somewhere that they mentioned, like, Venom's like, I'm done with this multiverse crap.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the
Yeah.
movie. No, he says like,
probably
oh,
It's
it's
after the bar scene that was, I
Yeah.
guess, No Way Home, and then they
Yeah,
went
he
back
goes
to
back.
their universe.
He's like, good, we're back. I'm sick. He's like, I'm tired of this multiverse shit.
I was like, oh, another jab at the multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, just another jab. Ow.
That first scene that we were talking about with the dogs and the thugs in Mexico, when he turns into Venom, he just goes, "Hola, bitches!" That was funny. I was like, "What?" That's so random.
He was waiting for it so long. He's like, I'm giving you a chance. I'm truly giving you a chance. He starts cutting on the cheek. He's like, oh, okay, fine. And then he's like, wait, what's going on here? And then, like, that's when that's when all the shenanigans start happening.
It was cool. I like their different, like, inventive ways of using, like, Venom's stuff, his
Tentacles.
tentacles, and also like doing like team combos with him and
the
Eddie
dogs?
Brock. No, and Eddie Brock. Like he would like shoot forward and then like let go of Eddie, so like
Oh,
he
he
could
drop
drop kick somebody
yeah.
and then like put
Pick him
Eddie
back
back
up.
into the suit. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then while there's like multiple arm tentacles slapping these dudes, and then the dogs were also mangling them
And
it
helping
was,
out. That was
It was cool.
well deserved. What was it? The sequence in the river was like pretty like I thought it was surprisingly like well done because of the whole like partly with with Anthony like they got there super fast, so then like
Yeah.
Eddie's defending
Really
himself
fast.
and then he's like, crap, I killed somebody, like I killed someone who didn't probably didn't deserve it, or like who could have probably didn't need it, because his whole idea is like lethal protector, but it's like, damn, like now I'm just being a little selfish for myself. That's
But
kinda
I mean,
weighing
she
down
was
on it.
aiming the gun at him, so
Yeah,
he was
she-
like protecting himself.
That was the whole thing, because at that point, plot wise, I could keep calling her Dr. Teddy because I remember her name is Teddy. Her first name is Teddy.
Well,
but
no, she was Dr. Payne.
yeah,
And I was like,
it's Teddy
what
Payne.
a name.
Dr. Teddy Payne. Yeah, so
Character is just weird.
so she like her whole thing was like, oh, we need to study them, and trying to like figure out the symbiotes, but they had that initial conversation with Mulligan's symbiote. It's just like, oh, this guy Null is coming, like this is like the ultimate like evil that we have to deal with. This is freaking me out.
And he's supposed to be Toxin, right?
Maybe, yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not that versed
Yeah.
into all the
Okay,
various
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure it was Toxin.
Yeah. So then, like, yeah, they had to forcibly bond a symbiote to him to like make him be alive. Of course, they covered his death so that they could leave him back there. And then the whole bit of like establishing how dangerous it is. So yeah, back to my point. I was just like, so then you have is it Strickland? That's the that basically is like, hey, like these we need to, if you separate them, we can just kill them. So like, all right, cool, we gotta go kill them. Like that's like the idea. So that's why like they had those whole like shoot to kill orders. So I got it. Like it made sense. It was also like, damn, that's heavy. So yeah, a couple heavy moments in this movie too.
Actually, okay, because I wrote this down. So I think in the second movie, his character gets infected by the toxin symbiote at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wrote this down because the dialogue was really bad, and it was Dr. Payne, her character. So they show that they brought the detective in because he was like about to die, and it was also like kind of bad ADR, so it was like set in the background. And
Dude,
she goes, his other symbiote left him for dead. We saved him. He would have died. Like she said it like that, kind of like the Madam Web trailer, like where she just like it sounded like she was just like saying these lines, like there was like no change in her voice, and it was just like really straightforward. It's like, we need to explain why he's like this because they gave him another symbiote, not the one that was at the end of the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he is Toxin.
Yeah.
Because it's another one that's just green.
Oh my god! Like that's I like that you brought that up because I remember thinking very clearly, like, let's put these Sony movies in really bad ADR.
Yeah, it was like it's
Well, the
bad
Madam
ADR
Web was
and
two
just
in a
like
row.
and like bad
Yeah.
dialogue. It's just like it's just her like really. Let's just explain everything. Being like just she essentially her character was like the exposition character. She was just a lot of her scenes was like explaining who these characters are and what they're doing because we have no idea who they are. They just like introduced them in this movie. And
Oh, well, yeah, so the first one was Toxin, but the second one is
Greenie,
a new... Green
Green dude.
Green Goo.
Green dude, he was a real one, man. He stuck up.
It was a cool design, though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they all look cool.
Yeah, like the one dude that split that basically like, oh, we're gonna be 2-in-1. He was I called him Tuesday. He was a twofer.
The one that
Tuesday.
Dr. Payne
Has at the end.
combined
Juno
with
Temple's
is
character.
Agony.
Agony, okay, interesting.
Nice.
The speedster one.
And then the other doctor lady, Sadie.
Mhm.
Sadie Christmas, yeah.
Is that her last name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I like
that's why she has.
she has the Christmas tree. It's like, it's July. It's like, that's her name, buddy. Like I had like Like Strickland had such a damn.
Did they say
stick up
her
his
name in
butt.
the movie? I don't think I heard her.
They
name
say
in
they
the
called
movie.
her Sadie.
Okay.
She was with Lasher.
Yeah, that was the one with all the. It had all the
That was a
knives
cool
and
one.
swords. Yeah, like every time. And we're gonna like I'll jump to like that final fight sequence at Area 51. Like every time there was a xenophage, she's like, "Oh, I got an opening. I'm gonna jump on top of it and stab the living hell out of it."
Yeah.
That was awesome. I was like, "Just go to town."
The ending of this movie, I think I was telling Zach when we got out, the ending of this movie reminded me a lot of Shazam. Like when the whole family gets the powers and then like everyone's getting
Yeah.
a symbiote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
there were some randoms that got symbiotes.
Yeah,
and
like a
poor
random
guys-
security
yeah.
guard, a random doctor.
like the one dude that got like that got hurt and it's just like, oh no, and then this dude came out and then like the symbiote's like, oh, I'll help him
killed
out.
him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
like, damn, that's
then
messed up.
doesn't that with the whole plot of the movie of like the whole like
He'd
you
make
die
another codex?
and then you make another codex like
Maybe he wasn't dead yet. He wasn't completely dead.
but
Yeah.
that was the same way that happened with Eddie
And he got stabbed in the heart or something. I don't know. Stop asking
They
questions.
just made that up for this movie. though.
Mulligan,
Yeah.
he died in the second one, and then
Yeah, don't ask questions. He was close to death. He wasn't dead.
That's
he was close to
story
death.
is
Whatever.
a little off from this
Yeah.
movie.
Stop asking questions. Tom Hardy's doing
like it
good
was
stuff.
never introduced.
No,
Only until this movie,
They introduced
and
it in
then-
the first 2 minutes of this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, I guess.
Listen to this story. That's how the movie
Yeah.
starts.
And
Find
it's
this
such a
thing.
generic the codex. Like how many movies use codex or Kodak or whatever?
Well,
Man of
code-
Steel, right?
A codex is an actual thing. Yeah, Man of Steel did codex, but like a codex is technically a thing. I think it's came from Latin. I think.
Yeah, but they can give it some more unique name.
McGuff.
No.
Exactly.
You called I called it MacGuffin. Yes. Don't worry. You can just call it MacGuffin and it'll be just fine.
Just make up
Like-
use ChatGPT. Oh, give me an alien sounding name
Yeah.
for a key, and I'm sure it'll give you something. I'm sure it'll poop something out. Just like
Yeah.
Yeah, that intro is kind of weird. I mean, yeah, I guess you have to do it because that's like the main antagonist of the movie where he sends out these creatures. So it's like the weird Nolan intro is like, this is me and this is who I am. I am trapped here. And then he found me. I was like, well, this is strange. Even though,
he's speaking to his xenophage.
yeah,
people.
even though it's, I almost said Peter Jackson, but not Peter Jackson.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
oh yeah, I forgot that it was him
Yep.
too, and then he directed the second movie too. So
But it was just like, yeah, it's just like 2-minute exposition of let me explain who I am and the reason for this whole movie.
Yeah.
I got into the theater a couple minutes late.
So you missed the whole
You
sequence.
missed the whole.
So I sat down and like the speech ended.
Oh,
So I
No,
didn't
you're
hear
like,
too
I'm
much of it.
confused.
Missed it. Well,
Yeah, you missed it.
It was just 2 minutes of like
It looked cool visually though.
back in my day. it was like that. It's like this is
I've
who
been
I am.
around for years.
I-
Pretty much. He's
I
like,
am the king in black, and So fun fact: the sword that from Thor: Love and Thunder is supposed to be his sword.
yeah, that was something that after we saw the movie, a friend of ours, he was telling us about like the sword and the how they did since Null wasn't introduced in the MCU properly, then it's like the sword doesn't really hold the same kind of like significance.
Yeah, it's still a weapon that can kill a god. Anyway,
But now I'm wondering if
They'll tie it in.
yeah, maybe.
but it was pretty much him explaining like who
But
he
the
is, and he's
sword's not
like,
there anymore.
I'm here trapped in the void, which is like beyond
Yeah.
existence or something like that. And he's pretty much saying like the symbiotes. Did he say like they made this place for me and like
yeah, they trapped him.
Yeah,
kept
yeah,
me
they made
here.
the trap.
And
Yeah.
so they're like, he's like, so now I'm searching for the symbiotes so I
Yeah.
can get out
So
of
you
here.
Get out.
Yeah,
And
they
then
have
he
the
needs
key to get me out.
codex
Yeah.
To then
Yeah.
get out.
And then so he's talking to all the creatures, right? Xenophages.
Yeah.
And then he's like, go find the codex and destroy it or bring it to me so I can get released.
Get
and
outta
then,
here.
And then they all go into their portals and,
And then
start
they go,
searching.
release me! Like
Yeah.
in,
Independence Day.
No, the
peace.
yeah, that's your whole exposition. That's where you get stuff in. But yeah, like from comics, I think the planet they mentioned the name of the planet. Like they mentioned Clintar. I was like, oh, cool. Like apparently that's supposed to, like in their symbiote language, means cage. So it's actually like the planet's like to hold him there. Like, hey, don't get out, buddy. But he's gonna get out. Anyway, one at first I thought was gonna be a little hokey. It actually turned out to be nice. Was Martin Moon, played by Otto Hightower. No, I'm kidding. Played by Reese Ifans. People forget he can do funny. Because people like nowadays know him from House of the Dragon and being this real serious proper role. He can do funny, man. Like he was great in The Replacements.
Thank you.
Jinx. No, The Replacements. He's freaking awesome in it. Watch Little Nicky. He's also good in that too.
It took me a while to realize it was him.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this guy looks like Ryan Gosling.
The lizard.
This guy looks like Dr. Kirk Connors. And I go, wait a minute. Yeah, the whole movie is like Martin Kirk Connors.
I was waiting for, at one point, for someone to mention...
God, a lizard.
Because they said his name was like Ian or whatever it was, right?
Martin.
Or Martin, sorry, Martin.
Put some respect on Martin's name. Martin, for being a kind of out there hippie dude, was actually pretty cool.
Because I was
Stranger Food.
I was partly expecting like some kind of Kirk Connors reference, given that
I mean,
they played him in
they had
Amazing Spider-Man, but
two people from prior Marvel
Yep.
well, yeah,
slash Sony slash Marvel.
Well, we can count Cristo Hernandez for the third one because he was in No Way Home.
Right?
I count it. That's my boy Cristo. He's the best. I love him.
Because
I want to see him in more things.
Because Chiwetel.
I mean, he was also in
Mordo.
Transformers.
Yes, he was in Rise of the Beasts. He was one of the Transformers
commercials with Patrick Mahomes.
He is in commercials with Patrick Mahomes,
and he kicks a field goal, but with a soccer ball.
Because he actually used to play soccer. That's actually a thing.
Because football is life.
Because football, soccer is life. Yeah, he used to play football. But also football is dead. Oh, season 2 spoilers of Ted Lasso. Anyway, so the dynamic between Martin and his family at first was like, oh, this is kind of hokey, but even the kids are like going through like just kind of but it was great because even Venom, like, these kids are gonna need therapy. Like it's like walking therapy. Like he even knew it at the point where like over time Venom's like, oh, these guys are like, he turns around like, oh, this is cool, and he's like, get me out of here, please.
Yeah, he was like really uncomfortable in the van.
Yeah, but they were freaking singing David Bowie, which is pretty cool.
And then also
Space Oddity, because Venom is a space oddity. Get it?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah, that's it.
And then also Andy Serkis was also in the MCU.
That is correct.
Claw.
He was Claw.
Dr. Claw.
Well, Ulysses. Yeah, Claw was. I think he was Doctor.
Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget, but he technically was, I think, a doctor or a professor or something in comics. Yeah,
I liked when they were, outdoor camping, and then he gives him the food. And he just stood up and shows the plate. It's like I'll pass.
He's just like it's all.
He says hard pass, and he just throws.
No, but like
these are weird people.
Yeah, these are weird people. No, he
looked at the food.
All vegetables. Like no, he didn't look. It was an immediate like it's like it was just like he was like a man possessed. So just like holy
involuntary spasm.
Involuntary spasm.
Screamed out. He's like hard pass.
Hard
he just
pass.
chucked it.
Dude, yeah. Freak and these. And what was nice too is just like you can see like the daughter kind of like whatever, but like when they're singing along in the van, like they have like the nice like, hey, you know what? They're kind of weird and kooky, but they're a nice family, and that was the whole like, hey, wouldn't this been nice, Eddie, that you could have we would have been something, and like even with the kid, he's like, you would be like, it was like nice
good dad
supported friendship kind of things going on. I was like, man, this is kind of wholesome. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. So, like those things were nice.
Some of that scene reminded me of the of that sequence in the car in Step Brothers when they're singing "Sweet Child of Mine." Go watch Step Brothers.
Friendly reminder to watch Step Brothers.
Another great like Adam Scott moment.
Oh my god! And Catherine Hahn. Catherine Hahn is awesome.
I have a question.
Right.
So I have a question. I'm gonna go on IMDb really quick.
I don't know if I can give you an answer, but yes.
Okay. So I think they showed up 2 or 3 times. It was like this agency that was in the dark every time Chiwetel Ejiofor would
I don't know what the hell that is.
They didn't explain what it was, but do you know who that person was?
Like the actor or the character?
The actor who they never showed.
No, I couldn't find it.
Okay, I could swear because I know the voice. It's the dude, the fiance of Michelle Williams' character.
Oh, really?
The guy that's in the first 2 movies. But that's his voice.
Didn't mention.
I heard his voice, and to me, I was like, oh, that's him. And I'm like, is he not a doctor anymore? I'm like, who is this figure? So I don't know if they just used him to be the voice, but like that has to be him because he has a pretty distinct
Reed
voice.
Scott.
So you're just guessing based off of the voice,
Yes.
not because of any confirmed.
Oh
acting
yeah,
credits.
so he is credited actually.
Oh, is
yeah,
he
So it is him.
It is.
So it's
him.
like,
Oh,
what
wow.
is that? Is he like now the head of the CIA? He went from being a doctor to like
Nah, not
in
the
the
CIA.
secret agency or
The
something. like that?
Imperium or whatever that like
Yeah, I don't know,
organization
but
was.
I knew his voice. I'm like, that's the guy that married
I didn't catch that.
Eddie's girlfriend.
I was just like, dude, who is this? But now like when you point, I was like, oh,
maybe
that's
that would set up a plot twist
for future
a
movies.
future
But they just said this is the last movie.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying for anything else they do Venom related, just not with Venom.
It just makes no sense because he's only connected because of Eddie.
Yeah.
Like we know that character because of Eddie.
but his
why would he,
organization
like,
might be just trying to go after the other symbiotes.
I know, but I'm
also.
saying like
or
if
going
they
after
make
other super powered stuff. So what if they're probably gonna
Six.
they're gonna bring him up. They're gonna find him at the end of Craven when he
I'm just
fights
saying
the
like
Rhino.
what's going to be the
Oh, there it is.
progression like
Rhino's the sixth person.
so if they make another movie without Tom Hardy or Eddie's character but you're still going to have this guy who like was only relevant because he married I keep forgetting her character's name but Michelle Williams' character
But they
And
credit him as the same.
That was Anne.
Character.
I remember her name.
yeah that's what I'm
Dr.
saying
Dan
so
Lewis.
if it is actually the same character then it's like well he was a doctor in the other movies so how does he get to being whatever this is
But who's this character? I don't remember.
what's the name
The
maybe
general.
maybe it was
General?
always his.
That was
job.
just
I
the
don't
guy
know.
at the end who was like, "Hey, we pardon you.
Oh,
but
yeah.
don't say
Oh,
shit."
yeah,
Yeah.
got it. Yeah,
I'm just
at
the
end
general.
of
Probably the head of G.I. Joe, and they're gonna combine the two universes.
Oh my god.
But who knows, man? But yeah, I knew it instantly because of his voice. I'm like,
No,
wait a
we
minute. So is it the
Uncharted
same
is-
character? So you just looked on IMDb and you're saying that it is the same character. It's not just the
They're saying
actor
it's the same
playing
character?
another, like doing a voice.
Well, that guy, the actor,
Uh-huh.
is playing Dr. Dan Lewis.
Because I know him from Veep.
Slash mysterious figure.
just Dan Lewis. But I'm gonna try to look it up to see.
Yeah, his name is Reed Scott.
Mhm.
I know him from Veep, and then he's in the first two Venom movies. Yeah, it says he's in Venom Last Dance as Dr. Dan Lewis. So he's still a doctor, but he's also in this
Might just be a
secret
cover up.
the secret agency.
It could be.
I was a doctor, but that was my undercover. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, well, I'm saying that the doctor life is a cover up for what he
Right,
actually
for
does.
whatever he does. But then it's
But
just
there's
like
nothing confirmed.
it's just silly to have that character in a future movie when it's just like
Now, if they would have like done a face reveal there at the end, then they were like,
they
oh,
didn't need
okay.
to. I
What
recognize
was he a
his voice.
doctor of?
No, he was just like a surgeon or something. I don't know. They
I'm
never
saying,
really
like, what
said.
is he a doctor of?
I don't know, but he always had his lab coat on.
Yes. I don't know, but yeah, that was the one thing I was like, they showed these people twice. I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, who are you?
Well, they were the people who were like, we found him. He's in the desert, and then that's how they got there in 2 seconds because somehow they knew how to track him, which is like I don't know, and somehow they knew that. I know they caught him on CCTV in Vegas, but they knew he was in Mrs. Chen's room. I'm like, what? Those were the things that I was like, how? Whatever, man.
You have to speculate that they followed the CCTV footage from inside the casino, but it's CCTV.
No, I don't
so
have
know
to
if that's
speculate
possible.
anything. they
You
just
shouldn't.
showed up.
Yeah, they just showed up.
Wait, I'm curious to find out who that is.
Are you though? Because it probably won't matter. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. Which is
Maybe
even,
in Craven.
Which is even weirder that like it was in it because maybe they cut out other scenes that he was in, and they decided like let's not have too many of these. But then why don't you just cut them all out if you weren't gonna go forward with it?
And
Like,
then-
I don't know.
Is
Very weird.
Morbius, Venom, Craven, and Madam Web all on the same like?
Supposedly, yeah.
God, I hope not.
Yes.
Everything about that hurts.
Supposedly, yes.
And they haven't mentioned.
Anyone?
I remember Madam Web was in the
movie
80s.
has
No,
mentioned
in the
any
early
of
2000s.
Yeah.
The only two that were
2003,
together
sorry.
were the Vulture, which we still don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what version of the
Morbius.
Vulture that is, and that was in the movie,
And
the
what
Morbius movie.
whatever ended up having.
Morbius.
And then that one mentioned in Morbius where they show like, or maybe it was deleted, but in the trailer they show like
A Spider-Man
Tobey's
poster?
Spider-Man poster. But I don't remember if it was in the
It
movie.
looked
Oh,
like
yeah.
Andrews, but whatever. I don't
But
remember.
it was still in the movie. I think that
Yeah.
that quick shot of that.
It was like
that
it
picture.
was like from the Tobey Maguire poster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't. They
It's all confusing.
What would have been really cool is, I mean, we already said spoilers, but at the end of this movie, Eddie goes to New York. It's
You would
like,
see
you're
something
in New York.
swinging in the background.
Like, they didn't even have to show him, but if you just saw something swinging, like, and then
It's
you
like,
hear,
yeah.
like, sirens in the background because something's going on in the city,
Yeah.
it's like, cool. There's a,
Or
so
you
there
hear,
is a...
you hear the sound effect.
Because at
after.
least
sound
that's them
effect of
telling
the
you
swing,
there is
yeah.
a Spider-Man in this universe that Eddie Brock is in. But you just like...
They
what
could've
a
just
golden
did it for the
opportunity.
fans.
Yeah, what a golden opportunity. And it's just like...
Oh, cool! People will talk about it. I gotta watch it. And then I mean,
Yeah,
Like,
any
what was the whole
chance-
point of going to New York for that?
Well, because
Any chance
he
to
wanted to
throw
see
in-
Lady Liberty. And
I know,
it was
but
supposed
like,
to be
the whole
Yeah.
sad and somber.
well,
and
originally
nice.
it was I gotta go blackmail this one corrupt judge, and then it was, hey, you know what? Statue of Liberty is nice, and then Venom remembered, hey, that's actually a nice thing. It's like, yeah, you could be welcomed, and it's like, yeah, it would be. That's cool. And there's probably a whole bunch of dudes to eat there, or other people in general. The final like 15-minute set piece was kind of wild. I mean, it was kind of out of hand where Martin's just like, hey, let's sneak into Area 51 as it's being decommissioned.
Yeah, at first I was like, why are they still showing this family? I'm like, there must be a reason why they're still showing this family.
Yeah,
Because if there wasn't, then it would be like,
Yeah.
so you're just wasting all this screen time just to
we're
show
doing our alien tour. It was just kind of fun.
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad that he like lied like to this kid Leaf, where he's just like, hey man, there are no aliens. Instead of be like, hey, don't worry. Like, instead of him saying like, not all aliens are bad. Like, wouldn't it be interesting to be a friend with one or something like that? Like a nice little sly way to kind of lean into
when
that.
they like went through the fence and they're like, yeah, look, Area 51, and then the kid just goes through the fence. I'm like, he's gonna get shot because supposedly there's a lot of security there, but
it's
I guess
being decommissioned,
Right,
so
right.
they don't care about no more.
right.
I don't want to play with you no more. And that's just like Area 51. But the institution under it, totally fine. Why not?
But yeah, so Dr. Payne, for those of you who are listening who don't care for spoilers and haven't seen the movie yet, the Dr. Payne character like works in a facility beneath Area 51.
Is it
And
Area
all-
55?
all their whole thing is they do research on symbiotes, and they've been collecting symbiotes.
The ones that came from the meteor.
Symbiotes. I'm gonna say it correctly because I don't even think they say it right in the first couple movies. But
Symbiotes.
I think they said symbiote or something like that. I don't remember.
Symbiotic man.
It was enough for me to be like, I don't think I've ever heard it that way before.
Yeah.
But so they're in this facility and they have a whole bunch of different symbiotes that they've been collecting, and then that's why we were talking earlier that we were talking about part of the last sequence where a xenophage heads to this facility because it knows that Venom / the Codex is there, and then while it's like wreaking havoc at this facility, they essentially say like, use the army of the symbiotes and unleash all the symbiotes, and they start connecting with a lot of the people that are in the facility, and then it just becomes like, a big
One last hurrah. It's like, hey, we gotta do something to
symbiote
make sure.
fight versus this xenophage, and it was pretty cool because you get different styles and different looks of the different types of symbiotes other than just Venom. Different colors, different builds. There was that one that was just like a big dude, kind of looked like a Hulk Venom, but it was like brown, more like the Thing or something like that. Xavier mentioned one where there was like two that combined and they made like superhuman symbiote.
That was pretty.
Cool,
I
And
was-
they kept like splitting and then going
and then
apart.
coming back,
Yeah,
like that was
cool.
kind of cool. I was like, okay, like they like it
They had cool
explains
concepts for
it
it.
explains the really really long like main credits of the movie after the stylized credits when the movie ends. There's so many VFX studios, but I mean it looked good. Didn't look cheap or cheesy or anything bad. So. But damn, like, yeah, that whole sequence there has a lot going on. So you kind of want to see, you're actually rooting for the symbiotes, but like the xenophage thing it's pretty OP. Like it can get blown up to pieces and then reconstruct itself again. It can, like as it eats people, it basically is like a giant, like, a mulcher trash compactor thing. Like it reminded me of Devastator from Transformers, where it's just like, go into pieces. Like you see like mist of whatever material, blood or whatever. It's like, holy crap, like these guys
pushed
got
that
got.
R rating.
Yeah, like it was really close.
This is
to-
PG-13 though, right?
It's PG-13, but it was
close.
riding a line in terms
Yeah.
of that. But it's aliens, so we can get away with it.
Like wood chipper, just like even had that sound effect. It was like That's how
Yeah.
much teeth this thing has.
And like even to the point, like certain symbiotes were actually every other symbiote was like we're gonna go like in some way, shape, or form. So that was wild.
Those things were kind of OP.
Yeah, you know what? The only thing. Speaking of OP, the only thing that really kind of got me mad is that like it only got to points where it was like in the wide open to go. Okay, cool. Now I'm gonna hit you with the sound blast.
Yeah.
I'm just like, really? Now you're gonna whip that out? That's messed up. Like that's like their trump card. So it's like, I get it, but damn, that's messed up.
But so I was also confused. Like, so the symbiotes die by just going into the wood chipper mouth of this thing. I'm like, wouldn't they just like come out and then recombine themselves from
No,
the other?
apparently
they're just goo because they would kill whatever the host that they're in, obviously. But
Yeah.
then like the symbiotes just goo. So why wouldn't it just reform? So that was kind of weird to me.
They mentioned that like those things were made to like hunt and kill those. So like
Sure.
they got there. Hey, look, it was said.
Nice. Yeah.
They followed the rule, and that's it.
Yeah, this is kind of dumb.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was. That's though this kind of like hunter killer thing that's going around town is. Going around the entire like desert again, like had some pretty scary stuff. They had a very Jurassic Park moment of the whole like, okay, we gotta not fuse so that it won't see us, which is in and of itself interesting, but also like, okay,
Kind
cool,
of a
like,
weird concept
Yeah.
to do because your whole point of the movie is to have Venom.
yeah, but
Save
like
CGI.
it helps
Save
save
on
the
the
budget,
CGI.
man. You gotta save the budget.
Even though they have like at least 10 other versions that they probably use their budget on. So, but yeah, I like that green one that took away the detective because then when it finally shows like the full version of itself, it like I don't know how to describe it. It was like
a
a
snake.
yeah, almost like a snake because it just kept like extending itself. It didn't have legs or anything, and it was just like twirling around in its cell. And I like that it stayed in its cell, and it was like another part of the exposition, like talking to the scientist and like letting them know, like, hey, this is what's going on. This is why this creature's here, and you gotta get rid of this codex, or this guy's gonna destroy everything. And I like that when the xenophage finally got there, he straight up just broke through his cell. So like he could have done that whenever he wanted to, and he's like, no, I'm gonna do it now because all of a sudden the symbiotes are good guys. But
yeah, but also it's like.
Yeah, they were there to protect Venom, so they're like, we can't let Venom get
they were there also chilling because like, hey, they're not like hurting us, so like we're just gonna chill and hide. So I don't want to like deal with problems. But now they've heard that they're coming. It's like, it's time. Like the inevitables happened. So
did they ever? Because I remember this was a big thing in the first movie, and it was one thing that kind of like confused me about the second movie, and I guess in this movie too. Because wasn't there a whole thing of like these symbiotes need to have like a perfect match to fuse with someone, or else like they're gonna kill that host? I think that was
specific
part 1
and part 2.
But one they mentioned it.
Yeah, but part 2 they did it because remember Venom's like, hey, I don't want to hang out with you anymore. But it's like you only hang out with people certain times before like they completely got messed up, and you have to top.
So in that whole sequence in part 2 where he like runs away and then like parties at the club, during that whole sequence he's constantly fusing from person to animal to person to person. So it's like, so is he killing all those people because they're not perfect matches every time he fuses with them? And it didn't seem like he was. So I was like, so then why did they even bother saying that? And the same thing with this movie.
But then in this one,
they just fused with whoever was working in that lab, and they're like, cool, now we're a Venom or whatever.
I think they probably did it for the time. I don't think you're really thinking about with the long-term pairing. It's more just like, hey, we can do this in the meantime because, we got to stop that. We'll deal with that other part later.
Yeah, I don't think they just...
Or they
probably just forgot about that they said that. They're like, let's just make it more fun so that they could just fuse with anybody.
Plot convenience.
I give it the benefit of the doubt. Just like, hey, we can temporarily fuse because we gotta do something to fight.
Speaking of fusing, the part one part that I liked was when they're escaping from the military people after the horse sequence.
Oh
They're
yeah,
going through that like river.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
Venom's
trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And he goes through the fish, the frog.
I like how he got a fish that ate another fish
and then became a bigger fish.
Yeah, became a bigger fish. Then went into the frog and was like, "Oh, what the hell is this? Get out of here!"
Just trying to catch up with him. That was a cool sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like that tied into the whole like harrowing, like, oh, this stuff is getting real now. Like, He's like, I got the feds on me. Like, who are these people? You know, it's not just cops, but some other organization. But yeah, we then, you know, we talked about like the kind of like nice tender moments, like in the car with the family, with the you know, like even like a little bit with like with that other Dr. Sadie, like when she was with like Thrasher, and then Thrasher got sucked out, she was kind of like, no, like actually like kind of like, because you can tell like studying the symbiotes for a while, like they cared about him.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, oh snap, like this, you know, like, you know, there was like a little bit of those emotional things. But I like the very end where like he's still in New York and he's just kind of like, even
that
as
Maroon 5 montage,
right? Yeah,
Memories bring back. Memories bring back.
Even the goofy like random general that just shows up is like, hey, by the way, you're pardoned. Here's the plot convenience. You're cool, but don't say anything to anyone because I'll kill you. Or you're gonna go to the deepest, darkest hole.
When I saw that part, I was like,
life.
I guess this is the guy that was in the.
It wasn't.
But I'm like,
It's a
it's
different
not
voice.
him. It doesn't look
It's not
or
him.
sound like him.
They should have brought that guy, and he would, and then he would have seen him and be like, whatever his name
Oh,
is,
it's
Doctor.
you. Yeah.
Like, why are you
Dan?
here? He's like, well, I'm really so and so.
You know what it reminded me
Dr.
of?
Dan, and you're like, don't worry,
me
dude.
of
Fast and the
the
Furious.
last Fast and the
Oh my
Furious with
God.
that room.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know what? That reminds me of Hobbs and Shaw, where you had that one like
The voice.
of that
Yeah,
one other
the
organization
AI
that
voice.
will never probably show up ever
A
again.
lot of people were like, "Oh, that's probably gonna. It might be
Robert-
Keanu or Robert
Downey Jr.
In the last one, yeah.
So we gotta
Like
wait
the
till
final boss.
Fast 10 2. Anyway, I'm going off topic. So yeah, in the end, this kind of, you know, puts the cap at the end of a nice Venom trilogy, but with post-credit stuff, they may want to tie in and see if something else happens.
Before the movie came out, they were saying like they wanted Null to be
Oh, really, really big
continued,
bad.
and they're gonna bring him into some other stuff. And obviously, this is just the start of his story. Which, I mean, he was barely in the movie, to be honest.
Yeah, like a super duper big bad, but you know, who knows?
I don't know what they're planning. If it's something we all even want.
I don't know, man. I would just keep it as like a cool little thing for, you know, with
Is it
Venom
gonna be
as it
mentioning
is.
Craven? Is Craven just gonna do its
Yeah.
own thing
Is he
and
gonna,
then
like
have
brutally,
its own
brutally
post-credit scene?
butcher a whole bunch of other, you know, like underworld people to then show up and be like, oh, I like you, Lethal Protector, and then have Aaron Taylor Johnson still have a funky accent. Anyway, I don't know, man. I don't know. But the point is that I would like to make is that, like, you know, like not trying to connect with everything. It was, you know, entertaining. I don't think it was necessarily like great. Like it's sort of just like, all right, like this is kind of like by the numbers what we're gonna do here. So nothing too terrible. But you know, as like, yeah, like we got the little montage of like, you know, what happened in like all the 3 different movies. Like even that was a fun little reminder of different things. Like, oh, okay, cool, there you go. And it's kind of like Eddie just like, you know, dang, Venom's gone, but you know, that's where we're at. But you know, overall, like it was nice to see Tom Hardy do something fun. Like it was kind of like, I'm not used to seeing him in a whole bunch of like really gritty, serious stuff. So it's good to see him kind of like let loose and have fun. So I was like kind of happy for him as the actor, and I guess that, you know, people got to do stuff.
Yeah, he was able to flex his physical comedy because it was always like being controlled by Venom and doing crazy stuff like in this one with the slot machine and just like using his hand and using like, smacking a button and then
Because I've seen something similar to that. Like wasn't that unhinged, but like I've seen that stuff. It's like
and then he's like you have no more money and then he kicks the machine and
then that guy's like sore loser. I was just like, damn, like yeah, he lost money. Here's $20.
Throwing the food.
Yeah, throwing the food.
Hard powers.
Yeah. And like being the voice. I think he is the voice of Venom, so
yeah,
he gets to have fun with that too.
Oh wait, he does his own voice for Venom?
Yeah,
So
it's great.
apparently
Really?
someone
I thought
else
someone else did it.
did the voice in the first one.
In the first one,
and
yeah.
they passed away.
Oh.
So then Tom Hardy did 2 and 3. That's why he sounds a little bit different in 2 and 3. A little bit more like that excited like
yeah. Should have just been Frank Welker.
Well, yeah, because in the first movie, Venom was a lot deeper.
Yeah.
Like, the voice was a lot deeper.
Well, I think in the first one it was someone else mixed with a Tom Hardy. And then in 2 and 3,
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy
Mixed with
took over.
A Tom Hardy.
Mixed with the Tom.
That's how you get the perfect balance of Venom. Just a little dab of Tom Hardy.
Oh man. Like, but yeah, it's still fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a few notes that I wrote down while I was watching. I just want to go through some of them that we hadn't really talked about yet.
Yeah.
Super quickly. So I think the detective symbiote said this when he was speaking to the doctors. When he was talking about Null, and he says the darkness has teeth. I thought that was a cool line.
Oh yeah.
And he also said the end is null. That was pretty cool.
I chuckled at that one too. I was like, end is null. I'm like, ugh. Because at first I was like, I chuckled and also sighed. I was like, did he say it wrong?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, he said it right. But then I was gonna think like, did the humans in the movie think that he said it wrong, or did they just hear it as end is nigh? Like,
No, he's like, no, it's null.
I got into a whole thing in my mind. It's like, what if like did this me in that situation? I'll be like, did you say null or nigh? Like what?
Who?
Yeah.
They during the horse scene, they played "Don't Stop Me Now." Shout out to that song because it's awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
that's right.
Shout out to Space Oddity. I mentioned earlier.
And during that scene, the Space Oddity scene, the Wall of the Family scene, super cute moment, and the dog starts singing with them. I like that.
Yeah, he didn't throw up that time. He did earlier.
Yeah.
Oh my
He
god.
did earlier. Did the dog throw up again? Yep. I was like, okay.
I wrote down another one of these strange lines that Dr. Payne has. When after Chiwetel Ejiofor like comes back from the mission on the river, and he's like complaining that like a bunch of my team just died for this
line was
nonsense,
cold.
and she just goes, "Science is sacrifice." And I was like, the thing just explained to you that like everything will die if like you don't do this, and she's just like, "No, I don't care." I was like, "What? What?"
No, when like 3 of my team is dead by this other thing.
Oh, and she's like, "Did you get samples?"
Did you get samples?
Yeah, I was like,
I was like,
this character
homie.
is weird, man.
I was like, she's hardcore. Like she's cold because her brother died. Like for the whole like she got struck by lightning, but then
They didn't explain that either. Like, what is this
sequence?
She got struck by lightning, but because she was holding her brother's hand, the brother died because of circuits.
Did the
Conduits.
did the
But they're
lightning from
also
her like have anything to
on
do with?
sand?
Yeah, I don't.
Like, wouldn't that just be grounded?
maybe they had so many
I don't know.
electronics in their pocket that like
you
the
should find out by
lightning.
getting struck by lightning in the sand.
Let us know.
I'll get back to
No,
you.
but you have to hold someone else's hand.
Yeah, you have to hold
pass
someone
through the.
Yeah.
Anyone want to help me be my guinea pig?
The what do you call it?
Hard pass.
So
I mean,
But then
lightning, like millions of volts is one thing
You
versus
know how much? 1.21 gigawatts.
But then
Hold the lightning.
you need a symbiote too to then just have super speed.
I think like I guess like
She could've
because
been
she
the
got
Flash,
I
but-
think it's because she got electrocuted. It like combined with whatever power that symbiote
Yeah.
has, and so
You're broken too.
Yeah, I think her electric power or whatever
Where did
she
that
has.
symbiote
Did she
come
even
from?
have an
She
electric
had-
power?
I don't know, but they showed that she had like scars
scar
and
from
her
the lightning
veins
strike.
and all that.
Scar,
So it's
yeah.
almost like the reason she didn't die was like maybe she had some pent up bolt electricity in her body. I don't know, but it almost seemed like
It's
when she
supercharged
fused
the
with
symbiote.
the symbiote, yeah, it like put in two different powers together, and I think that's why she was fast. I don't think that was like the power of that symbiote.
Because the symbiote didn't like while it was in that tube
Mhm.
or whatever. It wasn't
It wasn't electrifying.
I don't think it was
electrifying, right?
I don't think so.
I didn't think
Well,
so
not that I
either.
remember. And if it was, then that makes even less sense.
Then what was the point of
No,
this?
I don't know. But the back to the Vegas scene, because that scene was pretty fun. When he couldn't get into the casino and he wasn't dressed properly, Venom
Oh, that's funny.
headbutts the crap out of the doorman.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to get the suit from the guy peeing, Venom bitch slaps this guy in the face, and the guy goes flying, and then they steal his clothes. Like, damn.
And then he goes to walk up into the hotel, and then they're still trying to wake the guy up.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, welcome in."
But yeah, and another weird and bad dialogue was when the team came after the dance scene in Mrs. Chen's room. She's just like,
Mrs. Chen was a baller.
you leave Eddie alone. My shoes. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
come on, man. You could have given her something better to say.
No, I
It's
thought
just
he said my shoes.
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
he
he
did.
left.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
yeah.
But it was just like it was so like next to
Okay.
each other. It was like leave it alone. My shoes.
The whole joke of
Or
the
him,
movie
my
was
shoes.
him missing his shoes.
Yeah, he had
Die Hard. He had Die Hard syndrome.
Um,
Die Hard 1 specifically.
and then after when the family's at Area 51, then they finally see all the aliens and all the destruction. then this guy's like, "Oh my god, aliens suck." That was pretty funny.
That guy just endangered his whole family.
Yeah.
because he wanted to see aliens, and I was like, "Oh, those are real aliens, and they suck." Specifically the xenophage thing, because they were eating stuff. But
And I liked when they were dancing, and then when he was Venom, Eddie Brock goes, When did you two practice this?" And I was like, that was funny. It was like they had a whole coordinated dance going on, but I mentioned.
Where'd you practice this?
I mentioned this to you guys earlier. Like, it still was weird for me to see that. Like, I know they kind of were doing this in all three movies, that like Venom was more like an anti-hero instead of just like a bad guy, and then in this movie, all the symbiotes kind of became good guys, protecting Venom / the humans that were in that facility. It was kind of weird to see, but that's just what they did in these three movies. But yeah, that was it. Oh, and did we mention the end credit sequence? Not the scene, the sequence of the credits.
Yeah, most of the
With
movies
the
have cool
animals?
little sequence at the end. Like, that was one of my favorite things in the movie.
Yeah, it was
like
cool.
all the different animals getting symbioted up, like the elephant. I don't know if it was a seal or a whale going after another venomized penguin.
There was a penguin for sure.
Yeah.
Penguin, there was a gator, there was an elephant.
The frog.
Yeah, there was a couple.
Some type of, I think they're either been eagles or birds or something like that. Like, yeah, like it was pretty cool. I was like, some of those are like pretty out of hand, man. Like that was, yeah, like very inventive. I thought it was very cool. I liked it a lot. Any other animals that we forgot? Or we just mentioned the cool ones?
I'm sure there was some others that we might have.
But those are the ones
Yeah.
that just kind of like stood out.
No, it's a cool sequence. So I'd say go ahead and,
The elephant one looked, I think, the
Yeah.
most badass one.
Yeah,
one
that
actually
was
really cool.
wild, man. Yeah, that one was really freaking cool. Like, so cool. But, yeah, like a cool way to kind of like cap it at the end on it. And then I think there was some, I forgot who made the song, but it was like I think it was called like Last Dance. That's the song. I looked at the soundtrack as I was watching the movie earlier, and it was just like, oh, here we go. But then I completely forgot it because during the total end credits, there was a cool song a cool rap song that had somebody, and I think like Method Man, kind of going through. It was a really cool track.
Well, I saw that there was one song at the end credits called Null and Void, so that's pretty cool.
I think that was it.
Is it? Okay.
That's the last song.
Fun.
Yeah, I was like, okay, cool. Like I'm surprised. Like, yeah, like who's gonna like any songs here? Can you make Venom puns? What's this movie about? Oh, okay, I can do this. Null and
With a
Void.
character named Null, and he's stuck in a void.
He's stuck in the void. Dang, got him. Say no more. Cha-ching. Cash the check. Get it done. But yeah, man. Overall,
What do you guys
fun.
think? How would you rank the three movies? Because I don't think we've talked about the other two
The first two,
individually.
yeah.
We've probably mentioned it in passing, talking about other
We might have done the
movies.
second one in passing.
Maybe, yeah. But so, how would you put this one with the other two?
Probably number two. So it would be 1, 3, and 2 in that order.
Yeah,
For you.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, because like as much as there were some really cool sequences with Carnage. Like in part 2, looked really cool.
Yeah.
That movie's way too short and really kind of all
So
over
this
the
one's
place.
not that much longer. It's only like, what, 8-10 minutes longer?
Right.
No,
it's maybe like 20
it's
minutes
more.
Because the second movie is an hour and a half flat. It's
like 90 minutes flat.
Yeah, 9 minutes long. That's
And
So
this
this one's
is
like
an
20
hour and
minutes or
49
something.
minutes. So
I'd say 20 minutes longer because the end credits is 15 minutes long.
I feel like this movie definitely had better like visuals and like
It makes sense just because it probably does have a bigger budget,
Yeah.
and I think they took
it
longer.
looked the most cinematic.
This
When
budget-
that came out in 21, so they've
Yeah.
had a couple of years to work on it. So
And then I think that the last third of the movie really
Yeah.
stood out.
I'm
Like,
pretty sure that's
that
where
was
they
the better
spent all
part
their
of-
money, and it looked really good.
Yeah. No, this movie had a budget of 120 million, and Let There Be Carnage was 110 million.
And
Nice.
the first one was 100 million.
Oh, so
Wow.
only 10 million increments.
Not too
bad.
shabby.
Not
so
bad.
far,
But how
worldwide,
much did this one make?
So far, worldwide, 180 something million.
Nice.
Yeah,
I
so-
mean, it's not
It's almost-
too good, but
It's not part one.
I mean, they didn't spend 250 million.
yeah, but they're not even broken even yet because
But it was only
because of
that
ad-
much marketing.
no, because of it's
So
advertising, and then you have to remember the studio
The delay.
gets like a third of that final final price.
Okay.
They don't get because a portion of it
that
goes
makes sense.
to the movie theaters and a portion of it.
There's
goes-
not much coming out this week or next week.
Yeah,
so
it has-
it may
it has-
make some.
The thing is,
Somewhat.
if like it came out last weekend, right? So we won't know till the end of this week to see how the second week drop will be. But I mean,
And with Halloween.
I just don't know like if word of mouth will be that good because it seems like a lot of people are saying this one's not that good or maybe not as good as the others. And so I don't know. I just don't know if it'll earn that much more in the next coming weeks. Even though, like you said, there's not many big things coming out. But and if it was good, then I would say that people are gonna start saying, "Hey, it's good. You should watch it." And then you would say, "Okay, it has like 2 or 3 weeks of the good word of mouth, and more people will probably go see it." I just don't know if that's gonna happen. So maybe by the end, it might break even because supposedly. The international box office is doing a lot better, and there's still some regions that it hasn't come out, it hasn't released yet. I don't think it has released in Japan yet, but I think China is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But yeah, I agree. I think, I mean, none of them are amazing, but yeah, I think the first one was like the most cohesive, and like I think it was well done. And I don't know. To me, the second one was I've only seen it once when we saw it in theaters, and it was kind of like as much as I like and I wanted to see the character of Carnage, it was just like
And Woody was
what is
good.
happening in the movie? I was
Woody was good, but also same thing.
sometimes
Like, what is happening?
he was good sometimes. It was weird.
like what exactly is happening? But yeah,
I got to see both of them right before, same day.
Oh, you
that I
rewatched
saw, them? Yeah, I
Okay,
saw
nice.
all 3 in the same day.
Did it change your mind about anything, or you
I-
kind of
I-
had the same?
It's kind of the same. I always liked 1
Mhm.
the most compared to 2. 2 was better than I remember it. Like it wasn't as bad as I thought, but it was still pretty. I think it's the weaker one out of the 3. The first one I think just has the best like story and just overall like tone.
yeah.
But the third act for this one I think kind of makes up for the kind of wonky story.
Yeah, to me, I remember watching the second one, and I just felt like it was really silly. Like it was,
I mean,
way
2
more silly than the
2
first
and
one.
3 I feel like have the same sort of silliness aspect to it, like with Venom and Eddie Brock's like
Dynamic. Yeah.
dynamic, which I feel like that's what people like from the movies.
I don't know.
Was it
about
though?
that.
Because the second one,
But the first one I think had a good balance and tone for Eddie and Venom.
well, because the
Even though they're
majority of the
going through
movie,
their little
Yeah,
like
they're
break-
in the
like,
majority of
going
the
through-
first movie, like Venom is not silly because he's still like the alien
Adjusting,
Venom,
yeah.
and then as like they become like friends,
more cohesive.
then it's like that's what the second movie was. It was like the friendship / let's be goofy.
Yeah.
At least for me, I feel like this one they had goofy moments, but it was kind of like spread out, and so and to me, like I actually thought some of those moments were funny. Whereas, like I remember in the second movie that really long sequence where like they're in his apartment and it's just like them fighting each other in the apartment.
Oh, the
And-
chickens.
And so much stuff is like happening, and to me it was just really silly. I was like, is this like the same movie? It was just so different from the first one that I guess it
My
just
chickens.
and then the whole thing of like him going out to like the club and dancing, I'm like how nobody sees this dude, or they think it's like a Halloween costume or
Yeah.
something. It's like
It's so detailed. Yeah. Like I didn't have too much of an issue with him going dancing because Venom has to go out and try to see more of the world, like not just attached to Eddie.
kill people.
Yeah, and try not to.
With the glow lights.
Yeah, with the glow light. Yeah, the glow lights over his head and everything. It's nuts. But anyway, I think the series will end up being remembered by like really cool visuals, action sequence, the Eddie Venom dynamic. And
The
also
most successful in the Sonyverse.
definitely the most successful.
If you
It's
wanna
made a
call
crap
it.
ton of money.
Yeah, I
but
think between the three, it's like over
Is there already
$2 billion.
$1 billion?
Because
Yeah.
the first one made a lot. First one I
Yeah.
think made 800 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, it's a $1 billion franchise. $1 billion franchise.
The other two movies didn't have a song by Eminem. That's the kicker, man. You gotta have Eminem singing the
Yep.
rapping the end credit song.
And then Mrs. Chen, just a fun reminder, Mrs. Chen is the only character to also like show up in Spider-Verse.
Uh-huh.
So that was
Oh
great.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's why they made the second movie, because the first one was so successful. They're like, oh, we have to do more of these.
Yeah, and then we set up Carnage perfectly. I was like, oh, this should be fun. Yeah, which they could have had freaking Maximum Carnage, but whatever. Whole thing. But yeah, everybody, I think we got a general consensus on the idea of, what we've thought about the movie. I mean, like, it's entertaining, but don't expect to go in there thinking like you're watching like
It's okay.
Winter Soldier or something.
Yeah,
if we're
it's
talking
very-
about comic book movies.
Very okay.
Yeah, it does the job, and happy for everyone in it. It was a lot of just they did stuff, but yeah, it's kind of whatever does its thing. Any other last final thoughts?
Let's see how Craven does.
Yeah, we'll see how that does.
Yeah.
Not too optimistic, but I want to see Aaron Taylor Johnson succeed, but I don't know about this one. We'll see.
I'm hoping that somehow they'll get Tom Hardy / Venom in the MCU.
Just as like a cameo or
just
something.
because not that like, oh, we need the cameo, just because that's the type of thing that they would do for a Secret Wars type event. And so I just feel like they're gonna throw everything at the kitchen sink. We're probably gonna get Toby, we're probably gonna get Andrew Garfield. So if you're gonna do that and get those characters again, then you're saying let's bring in other Sony characters. I wouldn't be surprised if Morbius shows up.
Ian Grufford in as a
Exactly.
Council of Reeds. or
Exactly.
whatever. So
I mean,
we'll see.
that's
Yeah.
very possible. That's very
So
possible.
who knows, everybody? Yeah. So it's as it stands right now. Yeah. It's if you're going to the movies for Halloween, this is one to choose among a few other things going on. But watch it with some popcorn, your protein of choice, if you want.
Get your Venom popcorn bucket.
Which
If
is
they
pretty
have 'em.
wild. I think I saw one. It was kind of nuts, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, if you want to, I'd love to hear everyone else's thoughts. If they, you've seen the movies and like, yeah, they're whatever, they're enjoyable. They kind of like, scratch the itch of just something to kind of watch and be entertained. Or if you're like some other people I know who just, some girls I know just crush on Tom Hardy so hard, they're just gonna watch whatever he's in, even
Nice.
though it's kind of whatever. So like, hey, you know what? Take that as the fan base. Why not? But reach out, tell us what you think over on Popcorn Watchlist on Instagram and Threads, as well as please hit a like and subscribe on any comments that you have on YouTube and your Popcorn Watchlist platform of choice for our podcast. So thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
Later.
But
Nice.
Goodbye, ladies and
We
gentlemen.
are.